Hi, all. I'm gonna do a live streaming video of me working on this graphic. I'm gonna do it for about an hour, and then we'll go from there. So what I have here is a sketch that I started a while ago. It's based on the school I used to go to when I was in high school. And for those of you that don't know, I did not live here in Canada during my formative high school years. So through grade 9 to grade 10, or grade 9 through 12, I actually lived in Cyprus, which is a island in the Mediterranean that is kind of half Greek and half Turkish. And I believe now they might be part of the European Union. So I thought this would end up being a great gift for everybody. Whoops, that I used to live there. So I just want to make sure that so let's see here. Let's see here. So how do I share this? Okay. Okay. I'm sure this is a bit boring, but oh. Trying to figure this out. Never done this before, so if you're watching, I'm sure it is quite boring of me doing nothing really. How do I share this live stream with you? find stage 10. Where do I find this webcams? That is the other files. That's not helpful. That's not helpful. Huh. Well. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. Okay, so hello? Huh? All right, well, let's get back to the actual drawing, I suppose, hey? So I have a lot of preset tools here that I work with in my color palette over here. If anyone's ever wondered kind of where that came from, if I started by sampling all of my original series paintings of Edmonton. And those became what I use for my palette for painting, both digitally and traditionally. Now, like, those colors have expanded over the years as I've kind of made some slight adjustments to them. Here, and I'm going to try and draw a pretty straight line. And so I'm going to try and lay out a bunch of stuff here really kind of quickly, just so I can kind of get rid of that full blue sky color. To help me fill in all of my shapes here, I like to use actions. That's not going to be the final color, but I just want to get rid of that blue so I have a general idea what my contrasts might be. We'll do a small one here. One slightly bigger right here. I don't like where that one's sitting. I'm going to bring it so that it's kind of feeling a triangle here. See how quickly those actions are able to make me be able to fill in all those shapes so quickly. I know some illustrators like to use, they like to fill it in with their brush, and it allows a lot of kind of the texture of their brush to show through. But with my pieces, like the only texture that's in my brush is really from the edges. I almost like that color. Like, I don't try to pretend that this is not digital, but I like that it has like that kind of filled in kind of cut paper type of feel. Some people's pieces I really like to have the texture in, but I don't feel that that's always relevant for the general pieces I do. Some of my one-off kind of play around and test around. Ooh, how do we end up selecting everything? Let's try this again. Fill. Oh, okay, I see why now. So the trick with that is you got to make sure that your shapes are completely filled in. Put one up here. This is the thing. Most of these sketches are kind of really a loose guideline to where everything's going to be. So I kind of make up a lot of it as I go. Mostly because I think some decisions have to be made, especially when you're not working with like a line art here. You're not really working with like a defined shape yet, and that contrasts make a huge difference in where you feel like you'll put things, because the placement of that will make a really big difference later on than it does when you're actually putting like shapes in now. Like, it's mostly in the drawing part, I'm trying to avoid tangents more than anything else. I'm trying to avoid places where things meet up kind of like this. So I'm just going to move that over a bit. And then I've got a filled in shape. And with all these trees, I'm going to keep those in a separate folder so I know where to find those. I'm going to name it behind fence trees. Because I don't want to concentrate on putting all the branches in my trees yet. I want to make sure that I focus on just getting the overall shapes in here. And here, I don't want it to be too ragged. Okay, that's a little bit too down, so I'm going to go a little bit bigger now. Trying to set a, see, that's almost feels like it's duplicating. I want to set a certain amount of variation within what I'm doing here. And so I'm going to put this one behind that. It's going to be, let's go with orange. Not that they really get a lot of fall colors in Cypress, the same as we do here, but for a sense of consistency, I'm going to go with that. And here, this big tree over here, just because I know that I'm going to be going with some of my lighter greens over here, I want to make sure that I don't run out of the variation. So we're going to go with this, this darker green, like that. Fill, this connects. Just like that. Excellent. I'm going to go behind again, and I'm going to switch over to this. This is too many hops and bops for me, really. But I know what kind of tree that I want this to be. That makes a bit more sense here. There we go. All right. Just check on all of you. Enough, it doesn't seem like this. Oh, there we go. I guess it's catching up now. It wasn't before. Interesting. Oh. All right. Oh, there's the lecture. Okay, let's see that there. Working on trees. I think that we need to bring in bring that in there. So the Illustrator, we're going to be behind that. That's too lawfully. Let's bring this back behind there. So this is where the trick I get into is it's only so many colors, and I gotta figure out which color I'm gonna move. See, it's too much of the same color. I guess we're gonna have to go back to the light to ensure that we have that contrast going. That's green, green, green. Let's pop in the orange. Back into this here. And I think we'll want to bring this one down for over here. We'll put on the same layer as that one, I think. I think that's going to be fair. And that will leave room for bringing this color here. This one for the tree back behind these two. Right. Okay, it's there. Bring this. Great. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Back to orange. Trying to get that perfect circle. Well, not perfect, but one that at least feels somewhat of a consistency. And the one thing I'm kind of rethinking here is that, so what you're seeing back over here, so that's chain link fence. When I was in school there, they had like a green mesh that was kind of up against it, like so it wasn't just straight chain link to bushes. But I don't know if I really want that to kind of cover up the whole thing. So like this area over here, now looking at it, I think I want to do something here that so I can fill it all up and then come back to it later and kind of like cover up some of it with what would have been the green mesh, which means that I need to, there we go, need to fill in so that these trees here look as though they are kind of complete. I don't like that. Kind of like something smaller, something bigger, just something like this. There we go. Which means that I'm gonna have to put something back here. Which I think this darker green here, perfect. Or something like this. Get kind of a shape coming in like this behind. Ooh, kind of flattened out quickly. Comes in here, goes up like this. There we go. Almost like a bush, but not really. You're probably thinking to yourselves, oh, well, I thought this would be a lot quicker and a lot simpler, but I can't imagine that you guys would understand that this actually moves at a much different pace than that. And give, actually, let's undo that because I want to take this on this layering, give it a new layer. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I want to give it, there we go. And I can go like this. What? No. What? No, that's not what I want. I want to do an eraser. Do an eraser here. Lasso. 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 that's better. So that one I go to work on this one. I can have this kind of fill up like this. And why am I not getting any action on that? That's not what I was looking for, was it? There we go. Now that I know that, I kind of want this orange one to kind of be that much bigger. So that we can come in here and give fast tree some sheep. Oh, that's kind of weak. Let's do it like this. Connect these two while it's back there. Excellent. I'm going to do that. This bush here is of the similar style and shape. I'm going to give, yeah, that's a tangent I like to stay away from. Excellent. I'm going to give behind this one. And I'm going to go to a much darker one for okay. Do one similar as that one. So that's the variance that I was talking about. Like, if I do something, even now that I'm looking at this one, I want this one to stick out a little further so that it just doesn't feel like it's the same either size, or that like that before, you know, there was a red line. So before, when I was doing it, it was kind of going like that. And that just really flattened things out and doesn't really give some kind of inconsistencies of like that, what you would see in nature. Even though I know like this is graphic and it's not really a nature, like a realistic kind of representation of things, but it does make a difference on how people kind of perceive. So like even down here, I'm going to put in a smaller, and that one felt like it was kind of going in. So I'm just going to kind of switch it like that. And while it's working there, I want to make sure that it connects and do my fill. All right. So yeah, kind of like that. Over on this side, I kind of want to even these out. And even when I'm looking at this now, this is kind of feeling a little too much of all the same. or at least a repeating pattern. So I'm going to go back through. That one's pretty far back. So wait, I found it. There it is. That's the one I want. So this will lock the layer. And I'm just going to go through that, switch it, and switch out the color. So see how that kind of breaks up that like kind of trio of 3 colors with some extra contrast. I'm going to try and bring that kind of over here, that same color for this bumpy tree here. And the reason I want to do that is this thing is already going to be a lopsided picture. So if there's places that I can actually add in like an element of balance, then there we go. So I want to make sure that this is behind that, so that it gives a little bit of a sense of balance. Oops. Let's try this again. D. What am I not getting? Okay. Maybe we just need a saving. Why am I not getting new layer? It's above this one. There's nothing obstructing it. Oh. So I switched my colors over here when I filled in the other one, but I didn't switch it back. So I ended up drawing blue on top of blue here that you can't you can't see. So I'm going to delete all of that. One of the problems, I suppose, of working in set palettes is that you can kind of cover up your own stuff with the same color and not really know it. All right. I'm going to go like this. All right, so I don't think that linked up. Oh, it did. And then I like this one to be over top of that. There we go. More round. There we go. That's much better. That's a bit around, and then that way I can bring this one in underneath it. And that will give me an opportunity of this shape. Even this is kind of feeling like it's a little consistent, so I'm going to bring that out just ever so much more. Again, this one a bit more round of a shape. So I am thinking a lot about a lot of design principles when I am kind of going through and painting and drawing. So that when you look at it, it seems perhaps haphazard, but it's not quite. It's kind of designed so that it's pleasing to the face or to the eyes. So cool. So that's that. And I guess I can bring that up to be behind that one. There we go. got everything covered. There's going to be kind of a tree in front of this. Huh. Maybe that one that I put in just a minute ago above. I'm gonna throw this color in with it. Oh, I'm not gonna throw that color in there. What color am I gonna throw in? There's just so much color consistency in there. No. 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 What if I switched this one to be this color, and then I switched this one to be there we go. That's how we break up that consistency of color. Huh. Can I do that again? In here? I like to use it here, but this repeats here too much. So we've got like 1, 2, 3, like one alternating, and I'd like to switch out one of these. There we go. So if we switched out this one, yeah, I like that. That works. It's a little bit darker than what I wanted up against the sky, but you know, that sounds finicky, but overall, when you're looking at something, those things end up making a difference. Excellent. Well, that's just the clouds there, and I'm almost at what I imagine would be my 45-minute live stream. This is an awful lot of work to kind of cover while I'm on a live stream. This works mostly better in a kind of a time lapse, which I guess I'm going to have to kind of produce a second video of this for that. But thanks for joining me on this. This is my first one. I'm going to be doing some more. I'm going to bring some other friends on that are illustrators, and we're going to kind of chit-chat about all the work that we're doing and things that kind of where we're having challenges on, and maybe that might kind of give you guys some insight as to the work that goes behind the process and what we're kind of going through while we're making all this. All right, thanks for coming by.